Mike Owens here, and today I'm joined by a true legend of MMA, former WEC champ, former UFC champ, who's looking to do the three-peat with the PFL Championship too. It's Anthony Showtime Pettis. Anthony, how are things with you today?
Oh man, it's going good. I'm just on my way to practice, getting ready for my fight coming up.
Of course, and one thing that's kind of intriguing or perhaps strange, if you like, about your upcoming fight is that you're fighting an opponent you fought last month in Stevie Ray. So first and foremost, how do you look back, or how do you assess your performance back in June against Ray?
Yeah, you know what? It was the first time being in that position. You know, I had to fight Stevie Ray, knowing I was fighting 6 weeks later already, because I already had my guaranteed, playoff spot. So I went into that fight with the wrong mindset. I was trying to survive. I didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want to, compromise my body, and that's the wrong way to approach these fights. So I'm learning a lot in this, PFL season format. The good thing, like you said, I get that rematch back, in like 2 weeks. So, the exchange that got me in that position is I initiated that takedown. I tried to take him down. He did a good job defending, ultimately took my back, and he studied my film for sure, because he knew what escape I was going to look for, and he countered it. And, big props to him on that. So MMA is a game of inches. And I think, he was just prepared and knew what I was going to do in that position.
Most people, see this as most people don't get the opportunity. Most fighters don't get the opportunity to kind of right a wrong in the way that you'll be able to next month. Do you see it as that, as almost you can get one over on Ray and kind of right that wrong, as I mentioned?
Oh yeah, man. I think I was winning the stand-up exchange in round one. Round two, he was pressuring a little bit more. Now that's why I went for that takedown. But I think, with my new mindset, this time in the playoffs, it's all or nothing. If I lose this fight, I'm done for the season, and it takes away my chance of getting a third world title. So, there's going to be it's going to be a totally different fight. I'm going to go out there and looking to finish the fight opposed to just surviving. Obviously,
Ray's going to make his own changes in the same way that you will make yours. How do you kind of anticipate his game plan changing fight over fight?
I mean, he didn't really approach my fight differently. I think the only good thing he did was that counter to that defense that I do. That it's kind of like a gator roll. I try to clear the body triangle and then switch over, but he kept the body triangle, and his coach was like, squeeze. He put me in a compromised position where I had to make a decision. Like, if he would have squeezed a little more, I probably would have popped a rib, and I probably would have not been able to make this fight. So I was like, you know what? In my head, I'm like, it makes sense just to get out of there and fight him again in a couple weeks.
Of course, that comes into it, and that's what's such an interesting part of the PFL season. Is it's a relatively short period, just under 6 months, I believe, from first round to final. How kind of, obviously you've fought in the UFC and the WEC for such a long time. How different is the season format, and what adjustments do you have to make in preparation?
It's so different, man. Like, knowing that this is gonna be my third fight in 3 months, so I'm back to back fights. You gotta approach these. The first fight, I approached it right. I made sure I got that quick finish. And then the second fight was like, I already had a playoff spot, and I've never been in that position before, where I was like, I'm having 2 fights, back to back booked. So, I think it was a learning curve for me. Even my coaches, we were all like, let's go in there, let's point spar, let's not get hurt and make, get to the distance and get the decision win. Or if I get the knockout, obviously we'd knock him out, but I wasn't forcing the knockout. And I think, the season format is, it's cool as well. It keeps us busy. At the same time, the injuries, you gotta be tough, man. Everybody in this PFL, I'm sure all of us are fighting with some kind of injury, because we're only fighting a couple weeks apart. But, it's the season format's definitely different. In my career, I never had 2 fights booked, back to back like that. I already knew I was fighting again. So it was a weird position to be in, but, I appreciate the opportunity to fight him again and right that wrong.
100%. Of these semi-final cards, 2 are in the UK, one's obviously in New York. Now, I don't know if you remember my voice, but on one of the media calls, I asked you about potentially fighting in the UK, and you mentioned that you're on the New York.
I remember you now, yeah. Mike Owens. Yep,
correct. Was that a decision from yourself, or was that a decision from the company for you to be placed on the New York card?
That was a decision from the company. Yeah, if it was up to me, I would like more time just to heal up better. But I think the way they have it set up, the season format, the lightweights have to fight on the same day, so we can find out who the championship fight is. And I've never fought in New York City. I was supposed to fight in New York City when the Conor and Khabib incident happened, and I was supposed to fight Michael Chiesa, but he got cut from that the glass of the window. So this is actually my first time fighting in New York City. So I'm actually excited about that too.
You said I remember the quote you said to me is you want to fight on all four corners of the globe. So what other countries, what other stadiums, what other places do you kind of want to be able to fight in before it's all said and done?
Yeah, I still never fought in Mexico. That'd be an amazing one. You know, my people. Puerto Rico, we don't have MMA. I mean, that's my culture, Mexican and Puerto Rican. I fought in Japan. Australia would be another one. Obviously, the UK. I mean, London would have been amazing. But you know, I still got some time, man. I think you know, I'm still learning. I'm still adjusting, and this season format is definitely different, man. I'd be the first one to say, like, you got to be tough. Like, you got to be hungry and you got to be tough, because finding that motivation, like after you fight, usually you take your 2-3 weeks off, and then you start figuring out who you want to fight next, and then you get a full training camp. But this isn't the case. You know, I was able to take 1 week off and jump right back into training camp with injuries and everything. So you got to work around it. So yeah, I'm appreciating that, you know, the season format, but you know, hopefully I get the chance to fight, you know, all over the world.
You mentioned there about still learning, still improving and all of that, but some fighters couldn't envisage a better way to perhaps retire with the ultimate goal of winning this PFL championship for you. So is in any way retirement a possibility? Is that in any way on your mind at this, now going into your being 36 in January?
No, not yet, bro. I think I still have some more to give. You know, I like putting on shows. You know, like I'm a showman. My nickname is Showtime, and I think, you know, the fans want to see what I can do. And I haven't thrown all my techniques yet. I think once I go out there and I throw some more of these techniques that I haven't been able to use, and then I'll think about retirement. Or, you know, obviously getting this third world title is a huge, you know, goal for me. But you know, it's not set on like if I don't get it, I'm retiring, or if I get it, I'm retiring. Like I see my generation of fighters starting to retire. So it's like Frankie Edgar just announced he's thinking about retirement. Jose Aldo's talking about retirement. You know, like guys like that I grew up, you know, fighting with. Cowboy Cerrone, you know, he's retired. So yeah, I mean, and they're a little older than me. I think Cowboy's 39. Frankie Edgar's, you know, almost 39. Jose Aldo, I think he's my same age, but you know, Jose's been fighting the top of the top at the UFC forever. But yeah, there's still more things I want to accomplish before I retire.
Your legacy set in stone. I'm in no way challenging that by asking this question, but I guess how much would a PFL world title add to your legacy, having those 3 world titles in your trophy cabinet?
Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I'm you know, that's why I signed this contract over here. You know, this gave me the opportunity to become a champion within a year format. So last season didn't go my way. This season, my first fight was amazing. My second fight, it's a game of inches. You know, I put myself in a bad position and ultimately paid the price. So this next fight, you know, I'm not playing it safe. I'm not going out there and like saying I just got to survive. I'm going out there to kill this dude. It's me or him. You know, that's what's going on in this fight. You know, he's gonna make it to the championship or I am. And you better believe it. I'm giving it everything I got.
I asked this question to all PFL fighters that I get the chance to speak to, because the PFL, the end goal is twofold. You win a world title, but you also win $1 million at the end. So if we had to put it on kind of a percentage base, a ratio, what percentage of you wants to win the world title, and what percentage of you wants to win the $1 million?
You know what? PFL is taking care of me very well, man. You know, I'm getting paid very well to be in this season format and do what I'm supposed to be doing. Obviously, we all want $1 million. So that's the goal for, you know, most fighters, is that financial freedom. But really, that world title means a lot more to me than the cash. You know, the cash, you know, I can make money a million different other ways. You know, I have a lot of businesses and stuff where I make money and you know, get good paydays. But you know, getting another world title just cements my legacy. You know, like when it's all said and done, when I do retire, having that third world title, you know, it changes, you know, my career, my legacy.
We're talking about the recent conversation in MMA seems to be a lot around who's the lightweight GOAT. I mean, most people would put Khabib as number 1, but Charles Oliveira, with all the things that he's done, is now kind of in that conversation. BJ Penn will always be there. Where would the third world title, where do you think that would cement you in terms of the lightweight GOAT rankings?
Yeah, you know, I think you know, I moved down to 45. I moved up to 70. You know, I fought all over the place. It's hard to say Khabib because he didn't fight everybody. You know, Khabib, like, he won the world title fighting Alaquinta. You know, Alaquinta wasn't even ranked at the time, so it was like, you know, and then he fought some good guys after that. Then he retired. So it's hard to say he's the GOAT. He's definitely one of the best. But like guys like BJ Penn, you know, like that's a guy for me that, you know, if he wouldn't have came back and lost in a couple fights, we ought to be talking about BJ as the GOAT, one of the first. I mean, the lightweight division is stacked, bro. There's so many good guys in that division. You know, Eddie Alvarez, another good guy that's you know, could be looked at like that as well, fighting, you know, all different organizations. Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I think I did what I was supposed to do in the lightweight division. You know, my world titles are in the lightweight division, but I moved different weight classes. I fought different guys. I pride myself more on putting on a show after, you know, than trying to just win the fights.
Well, I wanted to ask you about this specifically because your nickname, it evokes so much, doesn't it? The word Showtime. It's obviously something that's kind of synonymous with fighting culture. You know, it's Showtime by, I believe, Michael Buffer is kind of his phrase. But obviously, we've got the service level, but you've been someone that has fought everyone, that has fought in a way that has been uber entertaining for, you know, over a decade now. But I'd just like to ask from a little bit more deeper than a surface level, what does the nickname Showtime mean to you personally?
Oh man, my coach gave me that nickname. We fought on the same card. It was Duke's last fight, his retirement fight.
Wow.
I was the co-main event, and he was the main event. It was the only fight Duke didn't corner me in. Every other fight, he's been in my corner. So he got to see the fight after he fought. He saw what I did. You know, I got slammed on my shoulder, and I just separated my shoulder. I stood up, and my shoulder was completely out of socket. I still got a high kick knockout. You know, it was it was a crazy show, man. And the city of Milwaukee went crazy. It was kind of like him passing the torch to me. You know, he was like the big name in Milwaukee, and then boom, all of a sudden it was my turn. And you know, that night he was like, man, every time you go out there, you put on a show. Like, we're gonna call you Showtime, and that's how it started. You know, it was like a joke at first, and then I got it tattooed on my back, and you know, I just started putting on. You know, every time I fought, people know, like, I entertain. You know, when I go out there and I try the things that guys are afraid to try.
I wanted to ask as well, because while you're in the PFL, there's a significant kind of star advantage, if you like, star appeal that you have over the lightweight competitors. So everyone who fights Anthony Showtime Pettis at this point, it's the biggest scalp on their career if they get it. Your name is a massive scalp on somebody's record. Does that come with any added pressure, knowing that everyone who's fighting you've got that little bit extra motivation to get a win over Anthony Showtime Pettis?
Most definitely, man. I know these guys. So this is an opportunity for all these guys. You know, like most, you know, the PFL guys, like, they wouldn't have had this opportunity ever. You know, like, to be able to get matched up against me. But with that season format, it's kind of just whatever happens. You know, like, it's out of everybody's control who wins, when they win, how many points they get. But yeah, I know that I'm fighting the best version of everybody I fight. You know, they're super motivated to fight me. So you know, that's where I kind of got to draw my motivation up. Last year with the season, it was like very hard to get motivated just because of the COVID situation. There was no fans. We had to be in a hotel for like 3 weeks before the fight. So it was a weird year last year. But this year, you know, there's fans in the audience. You know, I got a win, and it was amazing. The second time I got the loss, and now I get to reavenge that loss. So yeah, I know the guys are coming, you know, the best version of themselves when they fight me.
100%. Well, it's a fantastic season, fantastic bracket. All the better for the fact that Showtime is in these semi-finals. And I just want to say personally, thank you for your time, and can't wait to see you back in action next month.
Thank you, bro.
Before we finish, Anthony, is there any sponsors you'd like to plug? Any social media? Let's shout out your management company and your fight league as well. Yeah,
my fight league, August 12th. Make sure everybody tunes in. It's on UFC Fight Pass. What I did is the Midwest Invitation. I'm looking for the best guys in the Midwest. And that's where I grew up at. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where I made my name at. So now I'm kind of giving these guys the opportunity to go and make their name. So it's cool to see. Actually, one of the guys that fought on my first card signed with the PFL. That was my first guy to go from my show to the big league. Algo Husik. He did a great job too. He fought Brandon Laughlin on like 2 weeks' notice. So yeah, I think you know, my fight show, obviously, first round management, Melky Kawa, the guy who, you know, puts me in my position and helps me with my career. And I'm all my coaches, bro. Duke Rufus, you know, Diego Marias, Eric Koch's out here with me. I got a good squad. Jorge Capetillo for boxing. Yeah, man. So I'm blessed to be in the position I am.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKickMMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.